try and come on, I guess. Okay. I'll just introduce myself. I'm Carla Blunchley. Are you all hearing us okay?
Yep. Yes, we can hear you well.
Okay. And we are at my house, which is part of the Sonje Foundation Center. It's really one big piece of land that has our personal house, my husband and I who live here. We've been in Haiti for 37 years now. And we have a guest house where we receive wonderful people like Laura and her students and other universities who come to do cultural orientation with the team you see here. There's other members that aren't here with us today, but so we give cultural orientation that includes history, culture, and language. And we try to make the experiences as physical as possible, or immersion experiences, especially cultural. But even historical experiences can be immersion as well. So these are the things that we love doing. We find it as our passion, our mission. And I'll let the team explain a little bit more about Sonje, which means we will remember, and what that means and why we call it that. So anyway, my name is Carla, and I'm one of the founders of the foundation. So I'll let the team introduce themselves as they go. Okay, and I'll be doing some translation. They do English too, but depends on how they feel about that today. Okay, Jilin.
Bonsoir.
Bonsoir. Of course, everyone say bonsoir back. Bonsoir.
Bonsoir. Good evening.
Yeah. My name is Jillian. I'm 35 years old. Oui, and I work with Sonje. And I have 2 daughters. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yes, uncle. Miriam.
Bonsoir.
Bonsoir.
My name is Miriam Jacques. I'm a person from this town called Grosjean, where we are. It's in the semi-rural mountains. I'm 37 years old. I have a daughter. We're looking at Yaya's face. That's her brother. Okay, Mano.
Hello.
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 No problem, people.
I am Emmanuel Joseph. I am a father. You know that already. I have 3 children, and I am also a teacher. Then I'm a member of National Foundation. Happy to meet you. By technology.
By technology. Okay, Michael. Okay, no, okay, got it. Okay.
Bonsoir tout le monde.
Bonsoir, everyone.
Bonsoir.
Non, femme, c'est Mackensia.
My name is Mackensia Jean-Philippe.
Moi, fait dans Beaujean, moi, élevé dans Beaujean.
I was born and raised here in Grosjean.
Moi, étudié sciences infirmières.
I have studied the science of nursing.
Moi, j'ai 31 années.
I'm 31 years old.
Moi, fait partie du staff.
I'm a part of the staff tonight.
C'est un plaisir pour moi, ensemble avec nous, pour que nous puissions partager en pile belle bagaille.
It's a pleasure for me to be with you to share great things together.
Nous étions quoi, nous n'a pas pris de l'autre.
And I think that we'll each learn from each other.
Merci.
Thank you. Okay. And our newest member, Polika.
Bonsoir tout le monde.
Bonsoir.
Bonsoir.
Moi, le Polika, c'est moi.
My name is Polika Semwe. Okay.
Moi, diplômée en technique d'animation et présentation radio télévision. télévision.
So I have a diploma in technical animation and communication.
Moi, c'est étudiante qui dans sciences communication et relations publiques.
So I'm a last year student in qu'est-ce que encore?
Communication et relations publiques.
And communication and public relations.
C'est un plaisir pour moi avec nous après-midi.
It's a pleasure to be with you this afternoon.
Moi, crois que moi, vais apprendre de nous
I think I'm going to learn from you,
et nous allons apprendre de staff ça.
and you're going to learn from the staff too.
Merci.
Thank you. Okay, and we'll let Yaya do his thing over there.
Bonsoir tout le monde.
Bonsoir.
My name is William Sonjak, but everybody calls me Yaya.
Yeah.
I'm 36 years old. I studied child and family studies at Houston College, a small private college from Pennsylvania. Now I'm working in Haiti with Bethany Christian Services as a program officer, where I'm leading one of their programs called Youth Resiliency. I'm here today just to learn from you, and I think you are going to learn from me also. Welcome to Haiti virtually.
Yeah, ouais, bienvenue en Haïti. Yeah.
Merci. We wish we could be there in person with you all. But
Ah,
another time.
I
Another
wish
time.
that too.
Yeah.
Another time, exactly.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, we have another member. I thought he was trying to get on, called Jenny. I don't know if that's going to work or not. And another woman. I don't know if that.
Aló. Moi
Um,
là.
So there's Jenny, maybe. We va well.
Oui. Eh bien, moi n'a fait noir.
Présentez-vous.
Moi n'a fait noir.
They're teasing Jenny because he's in the dark. So get the lights on. We can't see him. I don't know. He stopped.
Okay.
He's across the city from us in university as well. So he's studying education. And so he's trying to get on. Let's see if this happens. Anyway, while we're waiting for Jenny, maybe we could start defining not Sonje Foundation a little bit. Who wants to start? Yaya or? That's Yaya.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want me to get
Ok,
started?
m'ka présenter, mes amis, m'ka présenter tout moi.
Oh oui, Jenny.
Yeah, go ahead.
Jenny.
Oh, oui, excusez, no patrón, okay. This is Jenny, one of our members as well of the staff.
Bon, bah, connaît, est-ce que nous voulons, ouais, moi?
Oui,
We would like to see you, Jenny, yes.
Ok. Bonsoir tout le monde.
Hello, everyone.
My name is Johnny Saint-Rosier. I wish you could see my face, and I wish I could see yours.
Oh.
I have a diploma in psychology, and now I am about to finish with education sciences. So it's always a pleasure to be with you. I hope to know many things from you, and I hope to share what I know about myself, what I have. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Great, thank you, Jenny.
Thank you. Merci. And we
Okay.
have Zach Bakura. Yeah, is he joining separately or is he just? Oh, we can't hear you.
You can.
No, it's another person.
And
Jenny.
Encuentro students, I think we can't hear your voice. Maybe the microphone is not turned on.
Hello?
No, Jenny, yap cherche un l'autre monde à essayer.
Ok. Ah, ok,
Non.
d'accord.
Okay.
It's okay. Well, can you hear us? Encuentro students, can you hear us? Okay, all right. Maybe you could work on the microphone connection, but we'll just keep moving forward. Okay. And it looks like we lost, did we lose Yaya?
Oh, he'll be back. I'm sure.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, there's Zach.
Oh, there's Zach. Okay. Oh, you're just joining from a separate room.
Okay.
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 Again, Zach.
Oh, yes, now we can, a little bit. Oh,
So I log on to connect to a speaker while they are actually watching you guys.
okay. We'll make it work. Okay, that's fine.
Okay.
So we also struggle with technology. Even with the full resources of the university behind us. So the students in the DR are having to have one student log in for the audio and their other students log in for the visual. So it's okay.
Okay. All right, no problem. Okay, so should we start with just the description of Sonje?
Yeah, that would
Yeah,
be great.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay,
Bonsoir.
okay, there's Delene.
Nous allons parler de Sonje.
Okay, we're just gonna tell you a little bit about Sonje, this foundation that we're all a part of.
Laura connaît une petite classe de Sonje.
You already know a little bit, but not everybody knows.
Sonje Foundation, c'est une organisation qui recevoir étrangers, visiteurs.
So we're an organization that receives visitors.
Là, nous recevoir visiteurs, nous enseignons le créole, culture.
So we teach them the culture, the language,
Et puis nous présentons histoire nous.
and also our own history.
Les visiteurs qui viennent à Sonje, c'est un plaisir pour nous partager culture nous ensemble avec eux.
When visitors come, it's a real pleasure for us to share our history and culture with them.
Dans Sonje Foundation, il y a 3 proverbes clés que nous toujours enseigner à chaque visiteur.
So we have 3 key proverbs we always share with our visiting people.
Premier qui c'est belle bonjour, c'est passeport.
So the first one is a beautiful greeting is your passport.
Deuxième qui c'est rentrer à honneur, sortir à respect.
The second one is come in with your honor and leave with your respect.
Et troisième qui c'est manger tout pas gagner.
And the third one is cook food has no owner.
Ça fait dans Sonje Foundation toujours bien devoir pour lui enseigner 3 proverbes ça comme visiteur les ou venir en Haïti.
And why we teach these 3 proverbs to new people who come.
C'est des fois les ou retourner la caille ou même pour dire mais ça que ou apprendre de Haïti et mit qui dans tête chaque visiteur les a venir en Haïti gen moun parents yo kon pa vle venir mais nous même nous retirons mit dans tête ou là où arriver ici.
And the reason why we teach this particular proverbs is because there are certain beliefs that people have in their minds about Haiti. And in this way, they can tell people these are the things that we learned from Haiti. And it can help to dispel the negative images and negative beliefs that people have of Haiti.
Et 3 proverbes clés ça que nous enseignons là, c'est comme si c'est un guide lié pour même visiteurs qui viennent dans le pays.
And the other reason is that Proverbs also become like a guide for you who are coming to Haiti to visit.
qui jan pour parler avec un monde, qui jan pour dire bonjour. Ça fait nous toujours dire bel bonjour, c'est parce que vous voyagez.
And the reason why we talk about these is so that in your visit in Haiti, you can use this as a guide. And like the beautiful greeting, this is not that you actually have a passport, but it's a passport in a social, spiritual sense.
Mais ou même ou toujours besoin de passeport pour voyager, mais à bonjour ou qu'à voyager côté où vous voulez.
So you use a passport to travel where you want to go. And in the same way, using a beautiful greeting is a way you can travel anywhere in Haiti too.
La Sonje Foundation toujours fait un bon travail à chaque visiteur qui vient.
We always do this kind of good work with the people that come.
Comme à cause des situations pays, nous-mêmes nous pas qu'à venir, même penser, nous pas enseigner un petit calme de tout ça que nous gagnons, nation je gagne notre diaconie.
Right. And because of the situation in the world, we can't, through the we can give you a bit of that, the same education.
Moi, pense qu'il y a petit nous et qu'il y a petit famille, amis.
I think this would be useful for you, perhaps for your family and your community as well.
Et la Sonje Foundation enseigne ou de guérison tout.
And Sonje also teaches about healing as well.
Qui guérison nous?
And what kind of healing are we talking about?
C'est pas les ou malade ou aller à l'hôpital, docteur ba ou médicament et puis ou joindre une solution.
Yeah, it's not the type when you're sick and you go to the hospital and the doctor gives you a solution for your sickness.
Guérison ça c'est pareil frère ou.
This kind of training understanding is the type that means the healing that we're talking about is not hating your brother.
Raciste la caillou.
And is to take out the racism that we all have in us.
Et puis retirer mythe dans tête.
And to get rid of the beliefs that you have.
Li pas seulement pour même qui visiteur.
It's not just for you, the visitor.
Li pour nous même tout qui haïtien.
It's also for us as Haitians too.
Li pour toute nation.
It's for all nations, all nationalities.
Moi pense ou pas apprendre plus de nationalité.
I think you'll learn more about Sonje.
Okay, merci.
Thank you. Okay, Tom, I want to see what that is. So are you hearing everything?
Yes, we can hear you well. Thank you. Merci.
Okay, great. Wonderful. Okay, Mackenzie wanted to share a little bit.
D'après toute explication,
And with all of these explanations that Jeline just gave us,
ça que moi juste voulais ajouter que c'est un bagage.
I just want to add a simple thing.
Pour nous tous qui sont des mots na songer.
As you all hear this word, Sonje,
Você nous chaque fois poser quelques questions.
you might each be thinking and asking this question.
Na songer qui ça.
So what are we remembering?
Ça c'est une question parce que nous chaque et nous faut capable poser c'est qui ça na songer.
So perhaps this is what you're asking. What are we remembering?
Et pense et pendant ce temps ça malgré tout nous va le connaître qui ça na songer ça. Malgré toute explication, mais nous parlons plus de qui ça na songer.
So perhaps in a short bit of time, you'll know a little bit more about what we're trying to remember.
Et me na songer résumé en un seul mot.
And I think it's comes together with just one word,
Qui c'est guérison universelle.
which is two words, universal healing. That's what we're
C'est ça
talking
na
about.
songer.
That's what we're looking for.
Na songer.
Sonje. We will remember. Anybody else? Okay. I don't know if there's any questions about that, but I can dive into a little introduction I wanted to do before we get into more of the Haitian side of it. I wanted to ask questions of you all, because Laura told us it's a little bit about our interconnectedness, how our history connects us and how our history has been created. And really the question is, how did we get where we are today? Because we want to look at the present. And that's what Sonje is doing, is we're remembering. You have to remember the past to know why our present is the way it is. And so my question to you all is to find out what makes us who we are today, why we are in the situation we are today. What do you think are some of the elements of our own history, especially since I see we may all be from more or less European descent? Are there some elements that you can share from our own historical background that might lead to where we are today? Does anybody think about, what are some of the elements that you might think caused us to be where we are today in the particular social environment we have, both in the United States and in Haiti? We'll ask the same question. Why are things the way they are in the United States and in Haiti? So the ball's in your court. Does anybody want to say something?
It's a big question, but I think it's something that the students grapple with in many of their classes, and it's certainly something that that I imagine you all have asked or thought about at some point as well. But yeah, students, what are your thoughts? Maybe it's helpful to think too about, like, well, where are we today? Maybe if we had to say something about where we are today, how would you describe the moment?
Yeah, I mean, it has to do with the problems that we confront in our everyday lives, in our society. I mean, there's been a lot. I mean, why did we even have to have Black Lives Matter? I mean, what has caused all that? What has brought that forth? And all of the fallout from that. Do you want to speak to that a little bit, or is that just something you all know and deal with?
Anyone want to speak to that?
Don't mean to put you on the spot.
Do you have conversations inside or outside of your other classes? Oh, Isabella says. Oh, okay. So one of our students who is Izzy is there. Hi, Izzy. Let me pull up the chat so that we can see it here. So Izzy says, I can't unmute due to background noise, but I believe that we are who we are today because of influences of the environment, family, prior knowledge about family history. I think that you can choose who you are and how you look at society with different perspectives because of what you had been taught and how you view your own world. Good.
Wow, that's a big answer. That's great. Yeah, I just wanted this class goes to 7:30, right?
7:30 your time. Yep. Yes. Yeah, we just have 1 hour difference between us. So yeah, we go till 7:30 your time. Okay. 6:30 our time. Okay. And 8:30 Dominican Republic time.
Oh wow, yeah. Just one of the things I wanted, it's true what you said, Izzy. It's it's all from what we learn in our families and our own family cultures. One of the things that we teach when groups come here is a little bit about our particular European background. It's one of the questions that I asked in particular when I came to Haiti, because I was, I think about 30 when we came, is what on earth happened to white people to do such a thing as slavery? I hadn't really asked the question before. I was in a pretty isolated community, but I really grappled with that question terribly, because it made me look inside myself to try to understand, maybe I had ancestors that were part of the slave trade, but even if I didn't, I still, as a white person, has been advantaged, and I have privilege because of that history. So I've had to delve into my own history background and have actually found that I do have ancestors that came to Haiti. It's a very interesting history. But even if I didn't have that connection, I had to look at my own European history and look at what may have caused European societies to decide that they could produce this situation of slavery, of shipping people from one continent to another in horrific conditions. And there are a lot, it's a very complex history, but what psychologically would allow people, whole nations, perhaps not everybody understood it at the time. Slavery did exist in both African societies, between African tribal communities who were warring, they had took their prisoners. That happened also in Native American histories as well. You know that slavery has existed from time immemorial, but what was unique about the European slave trade was the horrific conditions and treating them as non-human. And that's a very, very intense history, but I think it's something that we need to look at to understand why things are the way they are today. There's, you know, we didn't just happen this way. There were reasons for it. And as we look at Haiti's history, we have to look at that. Any Black person who is in the Americas was kidnapped and came to the Americas through European shipping vessels. We've all had a little bit of that history there through books, images, movies. But it is the reason why we are today. And one of the biggest things that I think that we need to look at, and I will let my team go on from here, I'm not trying to dominate, but there has been both religious and political and political reasons for a certain mentality and belief in superiority and inferiority, which would allow for this situation to be the way it is today. We're trying to work through, I think, trying to work through that in the United States. I see that happening. And in Haiti, it exists too. Superiority and inferiority. So I think that's kind of what I would like to see as our stepping stone, where, you know, our building block from there, because it's obvious that's what created the split, the hierarchy that came in so intensely and so terribly into our human lives. And all of the societies in the Americas and in Africa as well, and Europe. There was, in 1350, there was the Black Plague, and there was the need for, there was 3/4 of the European population was killed by the Black Plague. So there was a need for people to come in from Eastern Europe. So you had a certain kind of serfdom that evolved, that was, you know, the lord of the manor, and there were serfs that worked the land. So there was that, and there was religious understanding that there was certain people that were more superior, because that's how they developed the royalty people. That's been since civilization. There's been a hierarchy of people in societies as we developed established agriculture. That's how civilizations created. So from there, here we are. I don't know if anybody wants to add to that, just a very simplified understanding of why we are here in 2022 with our troubles, not just viral troubles, but spiritual, racial troubles. Does anybody want to add to that? Either my team or your people or your students? Do you want to add anything or make any comments about that? It's very simplified.
There's another couple of additions to the chat. I think these are yours too, Izzy, right? She said, I also think that as you grow older and experience the world without your parents or family, your perspective can change about things you might have agreed with at a young age. And then with slavery, I believe that it happened for so long and to such a horrible extent because the way the children were taught and brought up in life. If a child watches their guardian do certain things for so long or listen to what they say, they will agree that it is the correct way and the only way. So kind of the way that we're taught.
Yeah. That's wonderful. Well, and because you're a medical anthropology class, it's very appropriate to understand it as a sickness. I would say that it's a social passed down sickness that's been incarnated in our minds, and here as well. It's very, 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 very rampant, unfortunately, even in an all Black society. Okay. So that's good comment. So I think I'll let my team go a little bit further into depths about the Haitian situation and illness that has caused it. So we have Proverbs that will share a little bit about that. Let me move a little bit. Qui est-ce qui veut parler de situation haïtienne, comment situation raciste qui existait toujours, comment on le sent? Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Pour là. Okay. Oui, okay. One of our members, Polikar, here is she'll share a proverb, and we'll talk a little bit about that. Another time, I want to say bonsoir. That's a very important thing when people begin to speak here. It's an opening instead of just barging in. Even though they introduce themselves, they say bonsoir again as a way of a politeness, a way of introducing what they'll be saying. So I'm going to tell you and present a proverb for you. And I'll try to give some explanation about it. Through what the proverb means. So the proverb is this: the day that the leaf falls into the water is not the same day that it decomposes or rots. So this proverb, it's a very, very deep proverb for us Haitians. Okay, what I can tell you about this proverb is, I can give an example as my country, Haiti. I could say, the situation that Haiti is living today, this is not how Haiti was. Even though Haiti is in a very difficult situation today, the situation will not stay this way. For us young people, we believe that this situation will not stay forever. Even though you see Haiti's like at the top of the hole to descend into this terrible ditch,
nous croyons,
but we believe
nous avons conviction
and we have a conviction
que les pas tomber.
that it's not going to fall in.
Même le moment où fait noir en pile,
Even though the moments are very dark,
nous espérons
we hope
la fête,
that the light will come
la lumière,
and we will find that light.
en gros,
So in general,
que ça me capable de poser.
that's what I can explain about that problem. Développement de l'explication de votre projet. Bon, oui, pour que ça nous marque comme ça. Yeah, c'est ça même. Okay, another bonsoir from Kensia.
Proverbe que nous capable partager ensemble avec moi,
The proverb I'd like to share with you this evening.
c'est Haïtien dit dans le blanc.
This is a funny one, but it's not funny. It sounds funny. It says, hate the dog, but tell its teeth are white. It has white teeth. You may hate the dog, but you know that you understand it has white teeth. So that's a good thing about it. You hate the dog.
Dès que nous disons Haïtien dit dans le blanc,
When we say hate the dog and say its teeth are white,
c'est pour faire comprendre que
it's so that you can understand,
malgré la situation pays a eu,
in spite of the way the country is,
malgré gens yo représente,
and in spite of the way that they present Haiti in the outside world,
malgré gens yo pas comprendre,
in spite of the way they may understand it in any way,
mais faut que nous pensons l'autre nation a dit Haïtien c'est un fait plus fort.
in spite of all the bad things they may say about it, they have to admit that Haiti is a very strong country.
Et nous prenons espoir
And we even hope,
parce que situation que nous avons dit aujourd'hui,
the situation that we're enduring right now, I am very clear about that, and I don't believe in any covering up.
Nous te partager un film moun mouri par mon sisi pour te décider de tuer tête.
People.
Dans pays comme si bien nation de ka décider de tuer tête par rapport à Jean Nouvel là, Jean Afrique là.
Oh, you may think that people would kill themselves of how bad the situation is.
Mais malgré Jean ça nous toujours prenons la vie meilleure.
In spite of how the situation, we always believe in a better life. It's coming.
Si la vie meilleure c'est pas si on se fait
I'm not just saying a little improvement, but the fact that Haiti will shine bright for you.
malgré la nouvelle chaque jour.
In spite of the fact that you hear the news every day, maybe you hear, I don't know if you've followed the news, I'm talking to you, I don't know if any of you have followed the news about the tremendous amount of kidnapping that's happening here.
I think the students did a little bit of reading recent newspaper articles just before the class started. Oh no, oh no. Oh, they'll come back. Yeah, and Ginny, we lost Carla and everyone back in Guangzhou, but they'll be back. Oh, here's Carla. Here's Carla is coming back on.
Yes, it's what I see.
Okay, Carla, we see you now. We can't hear you yet, but.
Hey.
Carla, your
Yeah,
microphone
I
is
think
muted.
it's from the connection internet that is,
Uh-huh.
Okay,
Yeah.
can you hear now?
Yes, yes, now we can hear you.
Okay, all right, very good. So you heard Mackenzie telling about the proverb?
Yes, yes, you just cut out a second ago. Yes.
Okay. So the proverb is that they believe that there's going to be hope and a light coming, okay?
Bon, toute histoire ça yo te mwen bay lan,
And all of this situation that I've been explaining
c'est juste pour faire nous connaître que
is just to help you understand,
nous même en tant que haïtiens,
for us as Haitians,
nous ka wè bagay yo différent par rapport avec yon l'autre nation.
we may see things differently than another nation,
Mais tout,
but also
n'a toujours été comme yon premier peuple qui prend l'indépendance nous.
we will always be the first people and nation that fought for our independence.
Malgré les situations, les gens politiques, ou pas qu'à retirer ça.
In spite of the way the politics are, you can't take that away from Haiti.
Et n'a toujours été en tant que peuple, côté que papa nation te dit, depuis vous mettez plus au petit bout de ça, ou libre.
Just as our founding father Dessalines said, as long as you put your foot on this ground, you are free.
Ou en sécurité.
And you're in security.
Papa te dans politique, mais
I'm not a part of politics, but I just want you to understand that this proverb,
malgré si nous avons parlé de politique, nous avons plus comprendre. Ça fait arriver là.
Yeah, politics is another subject to try to understand how things are and why they are the way they are.
Côté que yo toujours mettez pied sous pour nous pas avancer.
They're always putting their boot on our neck to keep things the way they are.
Mais malgré ça, c'est Haïtien en disant.
But in spite of that, you know, you may hate the dog, but you have to say their teeth are white. Okay, thank you. That was one. Okay.
She'll come right back. So we haven't talked very much about Proverbs yet in this class, but that will come up again and again as well. But there are deep lessons to be learned through Proverbs. These sayings that have lots of meaning and lots of potential applications. Yeah. Carla, you're back. I was just explaining to the students a little bit about Proverbs. Good to have you back.
Okay, any comments, or do you want to keep going?
I was just explaining to the students about the significance of Proverbs, because we haven't talked very much about that yet. But in the US, we have maybe some little Proverbs here and there, but they don't have, it's not as important. And we don't grow up learning about the importance of Proverbs.
Proverbs are very interesting because they carry a lot of truth in a very simple manner. So if you know the Proverbs and parables, let's see that Jesus in the Bible talking parables. So it's a way of saying things in a very diplomatic and graphic way sometimes that carries more truth and understanding with it. So they're very important, and you can take them and they have different levels of understanding too, which is very interesting. And it gives you a perspective into the culture as well when these types of proverbs. Nature-based, based often. So like you heard about the leaf, it's very nature-based, the dog, and then everybody has dogs. So I think Monday. And good evening again. Okay. We have another proverb. This one I have to take the time to translate. It means the one who remember.
Carla, say it one more time. The
No.
sound cut out. If you can say it one more time.
Okay, I'll say it one more time. The one who hits forgets. The one who carries the scar remembers. Did you hear that?
Yep, the one who hits forgets, the one who carries the scar remembers. Yep.
Yes, that's it. Okay. One. Mhm. In this proverb, there's a lot of truth contained in this. And that's why, and that's Sonje Foundation, which has as its philosophy healing. But are you hearing us?
Yes, we can hear you. It cuts out once in a while, but we can hear you. Yes.
Okay. So the philosophy of Sonje is healing. But in order for this healing to happen, you have to understand the wound, how the wound happened. There was always a problem. The world has always had problems. Like today, everywhere there's problems. Haiti is in that problem. What is happening in my country, Haiti, today? It comes from the very beginning in slavery. The slave masters, they went and got it from Africa. They came with us. This little land, Haiti. And they stamped us and broke us down so that we would become part of the slave system. And this is where kidnapping, that's where it started. It began with this slave trade. It was a system where they were kidnapping Africans. They came here to this land with them. And so we have to remember. We need to heal. Our mentality needs to heal. So when we go and search out where the wound came, we will find. And I hope that the whole world will heal.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Are you still hearing us?
Yes, we see.
Okay, because your image is frozen. Okay.
Can you hear us okay?
Miriam has a proverb. Okay. And I say once again. The proverb I'd like to share with you. It's always our way to share these types of proverbs with our visitors.
Alors, nous tellement chargés de proverbes,
We're so full of Proverbs too.
nous obligés de faire choix dans quelques proverbes qui importants avec ce sujet que nous avons.
Yeah, so we're just choosing the Proverbs that are important for this particular subject.
OK, proverbe là qui s'allie,
Okay, the proverb is this.
c'est wash dans l'eau,
Okay, this is very graphic. It says the rock in the water
pas prendre douleur,
doesn't know the pain
wash dans soleil,
of the rock in the sun.
wash dans l'eau,
The rock in the sun and the water
pas prendre douleur,
doesn't know the pain
wash
of the rock
dans soleil.
in the sun.
Peut-être nous pas cette déclaration.
Okay, maybe Serena says I should repeat this one.
Au moins te mettre un bagage yo pas changer là-dedans.
Yeah, so if you can try to remember this, it's like the image would be a rock in the river, cool river water flowing down. The rock is nice and cool in the water and the nice liquid flowing. And then the rock in the sun is beating down and it's hot and dry. So that image is helpful to understand this proverb.
Alors nous-mêmes haïtiens,
So for us Haitians,
nous gagnons pile bagage qui fort la famille.
there's a lot of very deep and strong things that we have.
C'est ça que nous bail proverbe en pile importance dans la petite famille.
That's why we give Proverbs so much importance in our lives.
Là nous dit proverbe ça,
When we say this particular proverb,
il y a plusieurs autres significations l'autre nous cadre.
yeah, there's different types of interpretations we can give to it.
La façon dont on a expliqué là,
But the way I'm going to explain it,
c'est comme si Haïti nous aujourd'hui hein,
so it's like the Haiti you see today,
et yo veut gaspiller dans nous.
and it's like it's being wasted away.
Et nous étions prêts
But believe
côté nous sortir, hein,
where we came from.
nous sortir avec un bon sentiment.
We came with a good intention ourselves as people,
Ça veut dire tout ça nous gagne la caille nous.
because everything we have, we possess or own as a people.
Yo ta fait oublier yo,
It's like they want us to forget it as, not worthless,
oublier côté nous sorti,
and also forget where we came from.
oublier valeur nous gagne
Forget the value we have as human beings
dans visage tout l'autre yo
in front of all the other nations as though we're the worst.
qui connaît qui ça Haïti utile.
Yes, that they
Haiti,
all forget, and
yeah.
to forget that what Haiti's worth is, value is to the world.
Alors nous-mêmes nous toujours bail une petite explication encore à cause de tout ça.
And there's another way we explain it too.
Si toutefois nous gagne un petit monde, nous fait maquette pour lui
Okay, so we have a child and we go to the store for the child.
et nous mettons manger là pour lui.
And so we buy the food necessary for the child.
Et petit monde ça lui toujours voulait pour le remplir dans, comme si dans tout ça mettait là pour lui pour gaspiller un seul.
And the child is disorderly or mischievous will get into that food and mess it all up.
Alors nous-mêmes étant que parents yo,
But as the parents,
nous toujours après répéter ça, nous pas connaître le soleil.
we always tell the child, oh, you don't know the pain of the rock in the sun,
Parce que c'est wash yo.
because you are a rock in the water, because you have everything you need.
Yo pas continuer au passé.
And they didn't understand the trouble you've been through.
Alors c'est même ça avec Haïti.
And it's the same way with Haiti too.
Nous capable dire nous net pour en fouiller qui près nous.
And like that hole is in front of that cliff.
Même les cercueils là yo déposer là pour enterrer nous.
It's like that's the place where they want to bring us.
Et nous rester côté nous sortir, nous sortir.
We believe that where we came from,
Et nous venir plus fort.
we've become stronger.
Merci.
So thank you. Okay, so the proverb I want to share with you is this one. It says, The bone you see on the road, or in the road, used to have flesh on it. So that's something you have to think about, because you have to see a bone on the road, but you've seen bones somewhere. But anyway, you see an old bone laying there, doesn't look very interesting or worthless. It had to have flesh, it had a whole life that it had.
Proverbs ça vle di en pile bagay. El gen en pile importance pour nous mêmes haïtiens.
This is a very strong proverb. It has a lot of importance to us as Haitians.
Pour me parler nous de proverbes ça, m'a parler proverbes ça pour me parler des pays nous qui c'est Haïti.
So to tell you about this proverb, I'm going to tell you about my country, Haiti.
Haïti qui a présenté nous aujourd'hui à dans média, qui a présenté nous ces pays gang, ces pays qui chargent paperasse, ces pays.
This country that they're telling you and showing you about Haiti, it has gangs, it has trash, it's poor.
Avant c'est pas ça arrivé.
But it didn't used to be like that.
Des fois tous les a présenté Haïti, kounye a faut te présenter nous Haïti.
Yeah. But it used to be like. And also it has a sense about citizen too. You can't just see like, well, and you
non pas jamais voir positivité que li gagne la caille
and without seeing things that change.
Et doit être en état durable.
So it's like, as she's saying, you know, if you see an old person, like, you know, my nickname is Tanta. So you would see me as an old person, but you don't think about who the person was when they were, what they did when they were young.
Mais Haïti, ça que on regarde là, c'est pour grands-parents.
So if you were to look at Haiti during the time of my grandparents, I always hear them say, you know, that isn't the way things used to be. Like when I was 10, you know, a little kid, you know, 7, 8, 9, 10 years old. What's about, you know,
Parce que moi j'ai
35 now.
Mais c'est pas là représenter Haïti comme pays.
And now they're presenting Haiti as this, you know, really bad country.
Mais ça pour toujours mettre dans tête chose.
But they should always remember.
Faut que connaisse ces premiers peuples.
They have to remember that we were the first people that are independent.
Et qui est de l'autre pays vous même pour indépendance pas.
For their independence.
États-Unis.
This part.
Et dans l'autre pays encore.
And lots of countries that, like Venezuela, even Greece, they.
Haïti te développé indépendance.
And Haiti helped them with their independence too.
Et de bataille pour ça.
And help them fight their independence. But today,
nous sommes peuple fort.
We know we are very strong people
qui croient
that believe in ourselves.
Malgré tout, nous pas faiblis.
And in spite of that, we won't weaken.
Li te mettre c'est pas sous génération femme non.
Maybe a generation.
Li te mettre c'est petit.
My grandchildren. They will be living in a new. Okay, Mike, he wants to say another thing. What I'd like to say more than what's already been said. For me, our biggest problem in Haiti, we don't have a Haitian school, a real school that makes people become Haitian. The day that we say we want a new Haiti, The first thing we need to think about as a people
c'est l'école haïtienne.
is a Haitian school system.
Toujours qu'à faire comprendre,
Yeah, so how would you understand?
c'est même nous qui vient éduquer.
Your very enemy is the one that's educating you, creating the books in the schools.
Mais qui ça va parler de tout?
So what are they going to create?
Donc en Haïti,
Like in Haiti,
l'école yo gardé comme plus beau l'école,
like the best schools in Haiti,
c'est l'école qu'on veut garder ici.
these are the Catholic schools.
L'école père, l'école mère.
Yeah.
Si moun sa yo a fait l'autre tempérament, yo très raciste, yo très égoïste.
And so these schools are actually promoting the inferior superiority question and promoting it and creating it.
Et ça yo mette en priorité dans l'école, ça yo c'est faire parler français.
And the priority they have in these schools is that they speak French, which is not the national language here.
Et pour parler français, il faut éduquer.
And if you speak French, you are of the very educated and elite.
Et
And when you speak Creole, like the lead said, it's like you're just a slave.
bon, mais c'est l'école ça qui regarde comme gros l'école.
And these are the schools that were regarded as the higher educational institutions.
Et l'école ça on n'est pas capable de la donne tellement cher.
And because they're so expensive, not very many people can put their child in that school.
Et tout, yo pas éduqué vraiment pour payer, yo plus éduqué pour travailler, comme si vous rêvez c'est voyager, c'est leur partie, c'est leur aller dans leur pays, c'est les ça on sent que vous bon fierté.
Yeah,
En tant que nous,
yeah, but these schools don't educate you to advance or get further, anywhere. They don't give you the possibility, the access. It's only when you can travel and go to another country that perhaps you can find something better.
mais on peut qui dans situation comme ça,
So when a people is in a situation like this,
c'est normal pour nous des difficultés à porter nous.
yeah, it's only normal for us to have difficulty with our own self-esteem in this way.
Moi-même, je peux dire,
And the way I say it,
moi, je crois dans l'autre Haïti,
I believe in another Haiti,
même si moi, je ne pas dans elle,
even though I may not see it myself.
malgré yo dit, ça fait pas vous, pas ça fait mouton.
Another proverb she's using in her explanation is, what is that again? Affair kabrit.
Ça fait pas vous, pas ça fait mouton.
The affairs of the goat are not the same as the affairs of the cow.
Et puis, on fait peuple la foi pour nos questions de religion, yo bon Dieu, yo sauvé par le fait pour nous.
And they have given us a religion that makes us think that there's just this great savior that's going to come and deliver us.
Et moi-même, moi, je fais pas un pays qui est capable de développer sans planification. C'est pas bon Dieu qui a pris pour nous.
It's not like God's going to come and do anything for us. We have to do the planning ourselves.
Et là, l'autre, on t'a dit tout, et on est bien plus gros pieds qui sont pour Haïti.
We know that there's a lot of boots and shoes and feet in our necks.
Oui, on fait nous payer de respecter.
They're making us pay for this this disrespectful taking our independence. They're making us pay for our freedom this way.
Mais ça va ça.
But we know it won't stay this way.
Parce que dans plus de jeunes qui commencent à penser, qui commencent à ouais bagaille dans l'autre sens.
Because there's a lot of young people that are seeing things different way now.
Malgré nous vivons dans une situation où nous tout c'est parti, c'est qui solution pour nous pas mourir, pour nous passer.
And they're making us think the only way for us to get ahead is to leave the country.
Et si nous tout dynamique qui ça
So we all leave, what would happen in this country?
Ça veut dire nous penser même que ça qui est important c'est nous chaque poser question par nous.
And so I think what's most important that each one of us work towards this.
Et m'gain Dieu ni qui évolue l'éducation.
We have Jenny, one of our staff members, that is very involved in creating this Haitian educational system.
Nous gain Yaya tout qui évolue dans ça.
And Williamson too, as well, is also involved in education.
Et me connaissez ça, on peut Dieu ni c'est nous avec Yaya qui a de premier l'école.
So we believe that they may be the ones that be the pioneers for these new Haitian schools. And we're going to have this revolution. I believe they'll be starting this revolution, Haitian education.
And it's like the situation they create here now.
Carla, we lost
Literally.
Oh, back. We lost you for just a minute.
What?
We lost you for just a minute, but you're back now. But you said that the new Haitian education system will be a revolution, the start of a revolution.
Okay, probably did wrong. Okay. Like for instance, all the gangs that have been created recently. It's like they're offered this great amount of money. They're office place organizing them. And the people that are creating these gangs are people you wouldn't think of, but they're in politics, they're in power. Taking advantage of people who are so hungry, have they can't say no to this because there's no other thing they have, and they're not educated. And there's another thing. And also, remember, we had in 2010 we had an earthquake that killed 300,000 or more people, and a lot of children were left without parents, were raised on the streets. So this is also a result of catastrophes in this country too. And so now we have these big guns that have been come into the country. We don't know how. They can make money. It's using these big guns and kidnapping people that they think have more money than they kidnap, hide them away, and ask for ransom from their family. And the amount of money they're asking is the amount of money you've never dreamed of getting in your whole life. And so now your families have to look everywhere, to pick from families that are living in the States, everywhere that they can, and selling everything they have, getting more poverty. And so they always give a limit, if you don't give the money, they'll kill the person. They've created the strategy of a federation of gangs. Every corner, at least the capital particularly, it's not so much in the countryside, but in the capital, they've created this federation of gangs. Yeah, they even have a hierarchy of the chief person, a general or whatever, and they have a hierarchy. Yeah, and so the amount of money these kids are making, because they're young kids, they're like 19, 20, their 20s, that are getting money of this way that even you who've gone to university would never dream of being able to make. And that's why a lot of these kids have no grounding, no anchor in their lives, they can get into these gangs so easily. Are you still hearing us?
Yes, we can hear you well. Yes. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. I don't know if Jenny is still there, or Yaya wants to say anything about this. Want to give them a chance to speak. Yaya, are you there? Yeah.
Yaya's name is on the screen, so he might be connected, but his video is off, so he might not be able to join. And Jenny keeps coming in and out, but yep.
I know. Yeah, his internet might not be very good where he's at. I don't know. Jenny wants to say goodbye. She has to go. She has 2 kids. Bye. And Miriam has a child too, so they're all saying goodbye.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, so very happy. Okay. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Yeah, so we took up a lot of your time and ears. Do you have any, I know you probably, yeah, questions or comments? We'd love to hear from you.
Well, first of all, thank you so much for sharing your perspectives and helping us to understand a little bit better some of the realities and of what's happening right now, but also how those realities stem from things that sometimes we need to be reminded of and we forget that the realities of today are outgrowths of deep roots. So yeah, says his internet connection is unstable. Okay. Students, do you have any questions? Maybe I can ask the students on, I don't know if the students in the DR can have any way to speak or add something to the chat, but and Izzy says, thank you all so much. I really enjoyed hearing the different proverbs and the real life explanations of them from a different perspective than my own. So that's from Izzy.
Yeah.
And
there's one thing I wanted to add. I wanted just to talk about the interconnectedness and just historically, the reason why the United States is as powerful and as big a country as it is has everything to do with these people that you see in front of you, because it was their ancestors, their grandparents who fought for this independence that made Napoleon have to, he was no longer getting the riches and money that he was getting to continue his war of conquest of the world, that he had to sell the Louisiana territory. You've all heard of that. And that has about 13 states, I think, right in the middle of the United States, which is the breadbasket of the world, in fact, because where all the corn and wheat is grown. It's one of the reasons why America is as rich as it is because of this. It's one of the reasons why the United States is the United States, and it's not, an England territory, a French territory, and a Spanish territory. And it has so much to do with Haitian fierce fighting and spilling of their blood by their ancestors to gain the freedom from such a horrific situation that was created by European powers. So it's very important to understand that interconnectedness that our history, we're all connected historically. And especially the United States and Haiti, and to remember that a Haitian contingent, I think it was 1,000 soldiers that went and fought in the American Revolution. There is a monument to that effect in Atlanta, Georgia today that was erected in honor of the Haitian soldiers who gave their lives for that, for our freedom as Americans. So a lot of freedom and a lot of blood was spilled for freedom across the board.
Yes, it's something that when we learn about the Louisiana Purchase, we often don't learn about the central role that Haiti played and the Haitian Revolution played in that. Yes, that.
Yeah.
Does anyone have any questions that they would like to ask? And the folks from the DR are saying thank you so much from your Dominican neighbors. I'm sorry the connection didn't allow for verbal interaction from you all, but yeah.
Well, thank you so much for inviting us. It's been an honor, a pleasure to share. We yearn so much to share and don't have to. It's been just absolute honor and pleasure. Thank you all.
Well, it's our honor to have you with us, and truly just we appreciate you all so much, and thank you for your time and for your insights and for sharing your knowledge and your perspectives and just your beautiful selves as you are. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. It's a sacred privilege to speak for the whole nation of Haiti this way.
It is.
It comes around. It's a full honor. All right. Well, I'll have the good rest of the semester and maybe we'll see you again, huh?
I hope so, Carla. I have another class I want to talk with you about. I would love to have you all back in another class, or maybe two. Yeah. So, okay. All right. Well, blessings to you all. Thank you all so much.
We love it.
Messy. All right. I'll send you the recording,
Okay.
Carla.
Take care.
Okay, you too.
Stay
Take care.
safe and healthy.
Thank you. Take care. Thank
Okay.
you. All right. Bye-bye.
Okay. Talk to you soon.
Okay, talk to you soon, Carla. Bye-bye.
All right. I don't know how to stop. Oh, leave. Okay. Bye.
Bye.